I want to bring in our panel. I know that Mark Halperin in particular feels very strongly about what's going on right now. We start with our White House correspondent, Emerald Robinson, Republican strategist and attorney Amanda Mackey in Florida, back with us. Political analyst Mark Halperin is here, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps with us in the great city of St. Louis, gateway to the west there. I can see the arch behind you there, Chris.
Thank you.
Mark, I want to let you clarify this. So you are against what is happening in Texas and Mississippi. Is that accurate?
Not against reopening. As I said last hour, I think history is going to show that the way the closings were done were a huge mistake. There were much better ways to handle it that would have cost us less money, be able to keep more things open. Masks, though, are not an individual choice. If you don't wear a mask, you're affecting other people. I just don't see why Texans can't wear masks for another 3 months until the vaccines are more widely distributed. So I like reopenings. I also like masks.
We've been closed for a year, almost to the day. 15 days to slow the spread, I think, was March 15th. So today is the 3rd. We're getting real close to that very seminal one-year anniversary. Emerald, where are you on this?
Well, I have a problem with mandating what people have to do. I do think that it shouldn't be stigmatized. So I think if it's a personal choice, if someone wants to wear them, and I question how many businesses might still institute a mask policy, because if they're private business, they can do that, right? So I do have a question on that. I have members of my family who have weak immune systems due to chronic disease. And so, they definitely need to be wearing masks during this time. And it's something that some of my family members even had to do before. And one of them said, everybody else just kind of had to live the way I live now. But so I think it should be a personal choice. I just have a problem with the government mandating things, especially when we saw back and forth on data and couldn't get a real clear answer on a lot of things.
Masks have become
Emerald,
political.
Should seatbelt wearing be mandated, or how about not being able to spit on the subway? Should the government mandate against and for those things?
Well, that's a good question. I think you should wear your safety belt, but it's definitely a good point. But the mask thing has definitely gotten into, here's the problem. Like, I go out and I happen to drop my mask or it breaks or whatever. It's now turned into this thing where your neighbors literally yell at you if you
Mark,
don't have
let me. So, Mark, if you're driving down the street in a convertible on a warm day and you don't have your seatbelt on, nobody on the sidewalk yells to you to put your seatbelt on. I was jogging not long ago. I think I've told this story on the panel before, but I jogged around somebody. It was a warmer day. We're outside. There's nobody there except one person walking. And I got, 10 feet past the person and I heard, "Put your mask on." And I thought to myself, we're outside.
Rob, here's the difference. If you don't wear your seatbelt, you're endangering yourself. If you don't wear a mask, you're endangering others.
Yeah, you could endanger others not wearing a seatbelt as well, I suppose. But no, yeah, let me play a soundbite from Joe Biden yesterday talking about getting Americans vaccinated. Supposedly everyone in this country will have access to a vaccine by the month of May. Take a listen.
And I'm pleased to announce today, as a consequence of the stepped-up process that I've ordered and just outlined, this country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America by the end of May. By the end of May. That's progress, important progress.
Amanda, you're an attorney. If everyone is vaccinated, or if we have, right now I think we've got something like 25 million Americans that have been vaccinated. The numbers go up every single day. There are 3 vaccines available, all put out by American-based companies. Do you think that by May we can take the masks off finally?
I don't think that, there's just some people that don't want the masks to come off. And at some point, I would just say you have to stop this, because students, kids still aren't in school. Businesses are still shut down. Restaurants are still not at full capacity. You've mentioned Florida a bunch of times. We've been open. You said August. I would say since May, we've really been open.
Yeah.
And I think that for the masses here, the rest of the country, this has really been tragic and traumatic. For people to be locked into their homes with really no difference. You mentioned the difference between the numbers in California and Florida, less than 1%.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to just rip off that Band-Aid and say, we're going to stop this. And the vaccines, that's really an important thing here, right? Because Joe Biden said there was no plan in place. Clearly, there was a plan that the Trump administration left. And look, we're succeeding there. That's a good thing. But there's, there comes a point in time where you have to stop with the mandates. You just have to get the economy back going and students back in schools.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, this has been going on, I know we all know, but it's been more than a year. The Boston Globe editorial board. So the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins, they play in an arena right downtown in the city. It's been closed to fans like so many other arenas for so long. Charlie Baker, their Rhino governor in Massachusetts, says they are now going to allow 2,000 fans. The arena seats about 18,000, so about a tenth of what they could seat will now be allowed to go to games for the first time in a year. And the Boston Globe editorial board wrote a piece saying it's too soon. And I literally read the piece and I said, too soon? We are now 12 months in. How can that possibly be too soon, Chris?
Why don't you just refer to what happened here in Tampa during the Super Bowl?
I know it. I know. Exactly. By the way, we didn't see a spike, did we? I know the mayor of Tampa said there was going to be some massive spike and she was going to go after the no good Knicks not wearing masks. Nothing happened. Chris, sorry. Go ahead.
Our governor.
Oh, we'll check on Chris's audio. Let me play you a soundbite, and then, Mark, I'll turn this one to you. This is Greg Abbott, governor of Texas. He's talking about why the Lone Star State must reopen. I should say, Mark, before we play this, obviously, Governor Abbott's had a lot of bad press for the last 2 weeks with the storm they went through and that crisis that they were dealing with over the last 2 weeks. But take a listen.
This must end. It is now time to open Texas 100%. Everybody who wants to work should have that opportunity. Every business that wants to be open should be open.
And Mark, I'll just say it like this. You've been in New York for many, many years. I know you're in New York City now. This city, it's going to take a long time for this city to get back to what it was in February of last year, if it ever does.
There's lots of disagreement about how quickly the economy is going to come back. There's some estimates about what the quarter growth is going to be that are eye-popping. But it's got to be done, not just small business, not just big business, not just schools. The reopening needs to be broad-based. And I think Governor Abbott is right that this is what the people of Texas want. It just needs to be accompanied with enough common sense so that we don't backslide. Even with the vaccine going out, we're in a transition period now, and I think you're going to see states making lots of different choices. Let's hope everybody makes the right choices, and he's relying on Texans to show good judgment. Let's hope they do.
Yeah, we've got Chris Arps back. Chris, I want to get your reaction.
Yeah, I was saying our governor here in Missouri was under a tremendous pressure to issue a statewide mask mandate. He resisted that. He left it up to the local jurisdictions. And here in St. Louis City and St. Louis County, where I live, and the surrounding counties, most of those counties instituted masks. So, he didn't want the heavy hand of government telling people that they were required to wear masks. It seems that the real problem with the ramp up of the vaccine, that that 300 million Americans will have enough vaccine by May is fine. It seems that the problem that we're having right now is getting those vaccines into people's arms. We're having problems here in Missouri where it seems like the rural areas are getting more of the vaccine than the urban areas, and so the logistics of distributing the vaccine it seems to be the real problem now.
Yeah, but improving every single day. And, we had an expert on yesterday talking about Operation Warp Speed. Don't forget the three companies that are putting out vaccines right now in the U.S., Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and J&J, when that vaccine comes out. These are U.S.-based companies. America is not only putting out this vaccine, but we're vaccinating the planet as well. You could say we're saving the world, if it weren't for these companies that are doing this in Operation Warp Speed. Panel,
I just think the Biden administration is saying that it's a lot harder. You can criticize, during a campaign, but when you're actually governing, you see how hard the logistics of trying to get vaccines to 300 million people.
Absolutely. And President Trump got the Biden administration to the goal line. All they had to do was take it into the end zone. Panel, we'll pick this back up right after the commercial break. I want to talk about Andrew Cuomo. Should he finally resign? Could that happen sooner than we might have thought earlier in the week? We'll pick that up in